The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton, Kurt Daniels, Jesse Holley, and Shannon Gross.
We are back and live. How are y'all? You looking
Great
live
to see you guys.
at Tostitos Championship Plaza, outside Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. I forgot to look up the weather, but it's warm
about 90.
outside.
It's about 90.
Yeah, 90-ish.
Yeah.
Sunny.
Yeah.
And we're being joined. How is the weather in Oxnard, Nate?
Wait. You're skipping steps.
Jacked
Let's
it.
get it back right. Let's get it back right.
My bad.
He is Kurt. This is Shannon in Oxnard, California. That's Nate Newton. And I'm changing my name.
Uh-oh.
I'm letting Zaddy stay in the last season.
Uh-oh.
The new name,
Salt
and Pepper Poppy.
Oh, my God.
You see my salt? I got the salt and pepper is really heavy right now.
You finally acknowledging it?
Yeah. Salt and
You're
pepper.
embracing it?
Yeah, I'm embracing it now. So that's Kurt, that's Shannon, Nate, and Oxnard. I am Salt and Pepper Poppy. Together we make Hanging with the Boys, the sports talk equivalent of Braille people feel us when we speak.
All right.
This segment is brought to you by Wingstop, where flavor gets its
We got a
Brandon
new,
Cook still with us.
We got a new logo.
Yeah.
Same old stale crusty dudes on the show.
Yeah.
You stuck with us for another season. So Nate, now, how is it in Oxnard? I know y'all had the food trucks last night.
Yeah,
it looked delicious. How's the weather? Just go ahead.
Oh man, it's probably about when I started this morning, probably about 68. It'd probably get up to about 75. And it's just been beautiful, man. I mean, I've been riding on my motorcycle, man, enjoying it, man. Put me about 200 miles on my bike up in the mountains yesterday, man.
Nice.
Salt and pepper, boy, I tell you what.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper Poppy, man. Another year I get left on the porch. It's all right, because
No, I beg you. I suggest, are you coming? What are you gonna do?
No, I'll be there. I'll be there in August.
Yeah.
I'll be there in August.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll be there in
Cool.
August.
Be
But
glad to
I
see you,
definitely
man.
wasn't gonna ride on the back of that bike with you. I can tell you that much. I wasn't gonna be behind you, and you wasn't gonna be behind me. That wasn't gonna happen.
I hear you, man.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's too many miles.
You didn't ride a bike to California.
Where's Kurt?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, Kurt?
I'm
We
doing
looked
great.
at your magazine today. You did a beautiful job.
Thank you. I'm
Man,
glad
putting that
somebody's looking at that.
magazine out.
That's good.
Where's our magazines?
I'll get you some.
Okay.
You actually rode your motorcycle out to California?
No, I put it on the back of my truck. Guys helped me load it up, and the guys out here helped me unload it, man. We had an off day yesterday, man, and boy, I hit out there, man, off 33, 192, all up in the mountains, man, Santa Barbara, Ventura, just in the mountains, man. I'll do the coast run here in a couple of days. We got to go to work, fellas. Football starting. They practicing right now.
Are they really? So
Yeah, ain't no pads.
another opening press conference, another whole bunch of nothing. Did y'all take anything out of that press conference other than we got one guy that ain't at camp, two other guys we need to take care of.
We're all in.
We're all in.
and we're
Ambiguity.
We're around the rim.
Yeah.
Ambiguity.
We're definitely around the rim. Yeah. Let's go. For the
anything
rim.
else? Did we miss anything, Nate?
No, y'all got it all. I mean, y'all are up on it, man. The key PowerPoints and everything. Y'all are on this show.
Man. Well, how what's the vibe? Is it business as usual? Is it too early to
everybody
tell?
seemed to be excited, man. Everything seemed to be excited. We got the updates on the injuries and stuff like that, which y'all probably going to talk about here soon. And everybody's ready to rock and roll, man, except those guys that are not in camp, which we expected this to be like that. And everything's rolling, man.
Yeah. How long do we have you for the show? We got you the whole show part of it?
It's as long as y'all guys want, man. It's when it's something to talk about, but right now it's nothing big to talk about it. Is there anything y'all want me to look into or try to get a story on, stuff like that? I mean, But they just cranking up. You know, they broke the press conference up only because Mike needed to get to practice. But why was Mike even up there? Nobody asked about his job. Nobody, you know. I mean, it's like all they cared about is when CD Lamb going to show up, when you going to get that contract done. And they didn't even really care about Parsons. So, I mean, it's just Mr. Jones up there, you know, telling his life story and, you know, and how receptive he is to strong comments from his son, either Coach Mike. So, I mean, this for me, this is one of the best press conferences because he really gave us nothing this year. You know, no more than to say, you know, he gave us a definition of what he meant by all in. That was nice to know.
Yeah. Well, they have 3 really nice hats that they needed to show off and display. So that's why Mike was up there, is because he was the third hat.
Right.
So the Pro Shop
always about marketing.
Yeah, Pro Shop did a good job this year. Those hats look really nice. So I tell you what, Nate had a great idea. What do we want Nate to look into? I'll go first. So this is homework for the week, Nate, okay? So when we circle back on I guess Monday, well, maybe it'll be middle of next week because we need a few practices to figure some of this stuff out. But I want to know, because we basically lost a season last year with Mazi. I want to know, does he look different these first few practices? If you notice his hands, his explosiveness, if
his get off when the snap actually snaps.
That was the big deal last year. That was super nice.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be noticed to have an extra roll on his side. That's what I need.
if he put that weight back on.
Yeah, put a little bit back on. I mean, you ain't got to be sloppy nasty. Come on, man, get a little fatter. That would be
my one. Hey, right out of the gate, I want to know what does he look like? How's he looking on the field? How's he moving? That's my big one. What about you, Kurt?
I'm interested to see how they handle this whole quarterback mess. They've been talking about Trey Lance is going to get all these chances. He's going to start all the preseason games, but is he going to get any first team reps? Is that all going to go to Dak? What if Trey Lance balls out? Then what happens?
Is this beautiful roster you printed for us? Is this the depth chart listed by position?
No, that's just
random. Okay,
that's by.
So that's a good question. Is Trey Lance your number 2 or your number 3?
They want him to be,
because there's a big difference in reps in camp if you're 2 or 3, right?
Yes,
I mean, yeah. Excuse me. Yes. Yes. As someone who's been on the third side of this thing, I can tell you there's a huge difference in reps when you're number 1, 2, and 3.
So you know what I would assume Cooper Rush has not regressed, and you know what you got with him. Wouldn't you want Trey Lance to be your number 2 going into a full camp? And
they want him to be.
Hey, what do we got?
They need
Let's
some kind of
Let's figure this out.
This investment,
That's a good one, Kurt.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
What's yours, Jess?
Mine is going to be it's going to be from the defensive side. It's going to be, is Mike Zimmer going to bring a physicality identity to this defense? Like as a whole. Like that is my, literally, when CD comes, he'll be ready. When CD comes to camp, he'll be ready. I'm not worried about that.
Really? Okay.
No, I'm not worried about that. I just he is entered that place where he understands the work that he needs to be put in. Mm-hmm. Dak will be Dak. I'll have some questions about the offensive line, but the biggest thing for me defensively, with Mike Zimmer being on this 1-year deal, coming in and not having a complete offseason, guys in and out, not there, here, all that kind of stuff. You heard what Micah said. Like, I spoke 20 words with Mike Zimmer. Mm-hmm. I've talked more to my assistant than I have to his assistant, more than I have to him. Mm-hmm. My biggest thing is for this defense is not 1 or 2 players be physical. As a whole, is the identity of this defense finally going to get to a level of physicality that will be able to put them in the place of the bullies and not the bullied? Like, that's where they have to be. They have to be the bullies. And when they play, because when you look at this schedule, it is set up. It is set up to where you're going to have to do some bullying.
Yep.
If not, you're going to be bullied. Cleveland is going to run the football and be physical with you. We already know what Baltimore is going to be. I've been watching a little bit of that, like Houston film of Houston training camp stuff. D'Amico Ryans is bringing the physicality. That defense in Houston right now in practice, flying around, hitting folks and you don't want that to be a thing. They hitting folks in Houston right now. So that defense, for what their head coach wants to be a defensive-minded team, what he brought in from his playing days / his time in San Francisco. So you look at some of these teams that you're going to be playing. Dan Quinn is going to try to bring some physicality to the Commanders. I think the Giants is a physical defense. We know what Philadelphia is going to be defensively. So you're playing a lot of teams this year where if you aren't in a place, Pittsburgh is on the docket this year. You already know what that's about. If you don't find a level of physicality as a whole defensively, you're getting ready to walk into some of these games where the bullies are going to call their shots against you, and I need to see that really stick out in training camp.
Can that be coached? Or is that a player?
No, it's. And here's the way I looked at that, because all my life I've never really been a physical football player. Tough, yes, not physical. Like if I had to turn down being physical, I'll turn it down. And then it came to a point where it was fight or flight, because they were saying, "Hey, now you got to go down there if you want to be in this league, and knock into a 4-man wedge." And instantly, my mind began to change.
Okay.
I took on another thought process of how I got to do things. So it can be coached into you.
All right.
I'm not saying that everyone has to be Mike Tyson of the yard. But there has to be a level collectively that we are not and do it in a sense of not wild and crazy, not overly penalized, but there needs to be a standard that is set that's saying we are no longer going to be bullied by those teams who have been known to bully teams.
Yeah.
So I think it can be coached, but it has to be a frame of mind day one. Like that has to be preached day one to get everybody involved in that way of thinking. So that's what I'll be looking for.
Nate, what are you looking for?
The things that you guys need, I'll be looking for it, man. I just want to see where this team is at. I mean, they stayed pat most of the off season. Kendricks and Zeke is, I think, the more important people that they pulled in besides the draft pick. So I just want to see, like you say, is. Coach McCarter talked about, them being excited. So what I'm feeling early is that the guys are still buying into his, they're still listening to his voice. And we'll see as these weeks, I mean, this is the longest they've been in camp since the pandemic, where they're being out here almost a month. A little bit over a month, So this, we'll see. I mean, they'll get a lot of each other. Coaching staff, the players, every day won't be a practice day, as we all know that, but these guys are going to be around one another. And Jesse, we've been kind of beating around that bush for the last 4 or 5 years, or maybe 10. Physicality is what it's about. I mean, bullying people is what it's about, because that is what separates this league. Who is willing to get nasty in the crunch time? And the teams that have done that have made it into the Final Four. And the Cowboys have not been willing to be physical, nasty, or whatever that word we're searching for to get into that Final Four.
Are you feeling good about the team right now, going into camp?
I like the team. I like the team. It's just, the questions that are big are just, they've been there forever. Are we physical enough in the middle with our tackles? Our 1 and our 3 techniques, are we physical enough to truly stop the run? I mean, to take on those extra blockers, so our linebackers can run free. I think we have above average linebackers. Who we got? I think we got above average linebackers, especially with adding Kendricks, who understands what Zimmer wants. That we can make some moves, but if we don't stop the run, it's going to be the same old, and we'll be saying, "Oh man, they had a nice season," but in the playoffs, everybody you play in the playoffs, especially after that first round, they can do all things pretty good. So we'll see. It's going to be a long season. I know we're going to be fighting. Especially if these guys have a good record, we'll all be sitting there, especially looking at Jesse saying, "Yeah, okay, we threw the regular season. Now what?" So that's how it'll be.
All right, let's take our first break. Nate, you want to go ride your bike, or you want to come back for the second segment?
I'll come back for the second segment. Just part of it.
I got to leave.
I haven't listened to you guys' voice enough to feel you yet. To feel you real good.
Okay.
Feel us good.
Let's go.
Kurt's bailing on us too, so we need
already in mid-season form. Already in mid-season form. Kurt's out of here. Already.
All right,
who needs training camp rep when we got Kurt around, baby? Let's go.
It's going to be fun the next few weeks because I think all of us are going to be kind of in and out the next month or so. So, all right, we'll be right back for the second segment of the first show of the 2024 football season, or at least training camp of Hanging with the Boys. Be right back after this.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole made with real Hass avocados will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouthwatering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Welcome back to the second segment of Hanging with the Boys. Kurt dipped on us, so you got Jesse Holly, Shannon Gross, Nate Newton live from Oxnard, California. And every segment is brought to you each and every day by blockchain.com. Thank you, blockchain.com. Bing, bing. So how big of a deal, Jesse, you alluded to it a while ago and said that you're not worried about it. Nate, are you worried about CD not being at camp at all?
Oh, no, man. No, not at all. I mean, get him in there about a week before, they break camp, and let Dak throw him about 25 balls. They'll be back clicking, so the week they're preparing for Cleveland.
About you, Jess?
Yeah, no, I got no worries. I got no worries because these two guys have a chemistry. Yep. Already. Mm-hmm. They know.
Well, most games. There's one big one they kind of questionable.
Let it go, Shannon.
At least earlier in the year, they'll be able to find themselves and find their chemistry. And sometimes there's an addition to a subtraction or a subtraction to an addition. With CeeDee Lamb being out, we've been asking this question now going on 3 years. what is Jalen Tolbert going to do for this Cowboys team? So in the absence of CeeDee Lamb, yes, you have the veteran Brandon Cooks who will be there. But now you have other guys who need to use this opportunity with these first-team reps to gain confidence in themselves, gain confidence with the quarterback, the QB1, with the offensive coordinator, the play caller, and try to find your way in this thing. Yes, now when CD comes back, do you take a step back? Yes, because he is right now in the top 3 wide receivers in the league. So you're not gonna jump him. You're not gonna Wally Pip CD Lamb. But what you can do for yourself, guys like Jalen Tolbert and other receivers who are behind him, is use this opportunity, these days of practice, to maximize the reps, to be able to show, hey, here's what I've been doing this offseason. Here's where I've gotten better. Here's where I can find myself in a fit into this offense and grow a little bit of that chemistry with Dak Prescott, because belief in who you are and where you belong in the offense doesn't come in week 1 of the season. It doesn't come in OTAs. It comes right now. It happens in this portion of the offseason in training camp. So I have zero worries about CeeDee Lamb and what he will be whenever he returns. Again, he's guaranteed almost $18 million this year.
Yeah.
He's going to be here at some point in time. He's not going to that's $1 million a week. He ain't letting that walk. He ain't made that much money.
Yeah, his agent ain't going to let that walk. Look at him, man. We made a good try.
Yeah, we're going to scare him a little bit in training camp. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But when we get to the real money, that $1 million a week, we ain't going to walk away from that. We're not going to let that happen. So he'll be here eventually. But I don't worry about that, because right now he's in Houston. He's working out. And that's the one thing about CD. CD comes, we talk about 88s, and there's been a lineage of 88s that's come throughout this time. Mm-hmm. What makes this 88 different from the other 88 before him, mm-hmm. like the other 88 before him, mm-hmm. they work. Like CD works in the offseason. Yeah. Like he's not like on for the camera. Like, no, like CD wants to continually get better. Mm-hmm. So guys like that, I don't worry about. I'm not worried about what his condition is going to be like. Is he keeping his route game sharp? All that kind of stuff. His mentals and his dentals. Not worried about that. He's going to be ready when he gets here. It's all about now, once he gets here, just plugging him in and let's go play.
Gotcha. So something I wanted to ask you guys, because we didn't have a show when all this was going on, and it kind of plays into, I guess, training camp and, being back on the field together, was the whole, Micah and Malik Hooker kind of had a little back and forth. Was that a big deal, or is that something that we should be worried about with, the comments that were made, a month or so ago, or is that just they know where they stand, and once you're back in the locker room, that's we got it under control, or is it something to be worried about, chemistry on the defense or something in the defensive room?
Before you go, Jess, today's kids, they say things, and I think they can move on. I think depending on the team when I played, and which team it was, a guy wouldn't forget. A guy wasn't going to forget. I mean, he would be in his little clique. You know how we click up in the locker room, Jess. And they'll be in their little clique like, I ain't forgetting that. I ain't going to say much about it, but if he ever front me, that opportunity will rise and it'll blow up. But these kids today will say almost anything, man, on social media, and they seem to get past it. And I think these guys will get past it.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of that. I think it's still the same, Nate. I think it's still. I think your era, some of my era,
right,
were less sensitive than the era that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the players of today, they hold that grudge, and wow. To me, it's not. And maybe I look too much into words, but sometimes it's not how something is said, it's what is said. Mm-hmm. Because if you remember that back and forth conversation, one, I found it hilarious because Malik answered the question, and then, Micah came on social media to say, hey, if you had an issue with me, you could have reached out to me personally and did that not on social media while you're responding to him on social media. But it was what Micah said in return. He said, if you want to talk about people not preparing, we could talk about them. And that led me to believe, oh, okay, that this is a much bigger issue than we even know from the outside.
Yeah, it's not just us.
It ain't just you and I. There are other folks in here that if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Because everybody ain't preparing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, that goes back to a couple things in my book. Leadership. Because if there are other guys in this locker room on the defensive side who may be alluding to not being fully prepared to do certain things, then Malik Hooker, one of the most veteran guys on this football team, and Micah, who's supposed to be one of the leaders on this football team, y'all ain't addressing that? That's going unchecked. And I think that's part of, and it's not just a Cowboys thing. I think sometimes it's something that happens in other places where things go unchecked and everybody just keeps kind of staying in their own little bubble until the ish hit the fan. And as long as you winning, it's never an issue. But when things start to go a little south, now the fingers start getting pointed of, well, he ain't. When real leadership checks that. Real leadership says, and this is not just a Micah thing. This is a Tank thing. This is a Malik Hooker thing. This is the veteran part of who this team is defensively. And this is beyond Dak Prescott because Dak's not on that other side. Like, he's not on the defensive side. He don't know what going on in those meetings. Dak doesn't know who is assignment and alignment sound week in and week out. He don't know who messing up like that because he's not in the trenches with those guys in those meetings. So for those two guys to bring it up, and to me, reading in between the lines, there are some things that went unchecked from a leadership standpoint. Those are the small things that when you go back and you look across the season, you're saying, all right, well, there's some things that went unchecked. Undisciplined in this game, undisciplined in that game. And now you can start pulling those little bit of a fragments out of it and seeing the whole chaos of it all. So I do think that these guys don't forget. They don't let it go. They hold on to that, and it may not manifest into nothing at all. It may manifest into something greater. But I don't think that those guys forget it. I think the petty's at an all-time high in society itself.
Right.
Petty's at an all-time high. Petty's at an all-time high, and guys are looking to say, "It wasn't me. It wasn't my fault."
So question for you, and this is for both of y'all, because Nate, you can talk about back when you played, and Jesse, you can address, the newer groups because you work with those guys. The guys that I know that, let's just say older school guys, right, that I know personally, if they have a beef with somebody, football players, I don't know about other sports, but football players, if you have a problem with them or they sense there's tension or a problem, at least the older guys, right? Let's say 30 and up, right? They usually are going to come up to you, even if you're in the friend group, and go, "Hey, are we good?
Right?
Like, what's going on?" Like, they're not like just normal folks, right? They're all alphas, and if something's going on, they're not going to just let it be the elephant in the room. They're going to come out and be like, "Hey, we got a problem. Is something going on? Do we need to address it? What's the deal?" If you've never been in that environment, it's very passive, but it's kind of aggressive, and it's really, let's just squash it, because if we're going to be friends and hanging out in the same spot, let's get it out of the way. And you may not be able to squash it, and then but you know where you stand, right? As to where normal people's friend group, he's a jerk, and and then you're talking behind your. There's not a lot of that going on. Has that changed in the last 5 to 10 years? Is there non-addressment of those issues, or is it still, it gets to a certain point, it's like, all right, we're going to talk about this as men. We're going to sit down and squash this?
I've said this. I believe this. And most people sometimes don't get a chance to see it because you're outside looking in, granted. But you look at some of these stars of today, your football players, and they are these massive human beings. On the field, they're aggressive. They're mean. They're nasty. But some of the thing that you don't see is just how sensitive and how fragile some of these dudes are behind the scenes. We watched last year the tension between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I got cooked for that earlier in the year. I said, something's not right. And everybody, oh, you being messy, you being messy, you being messy. Then you have CeeDee Lamb who comes out and he's like, hey, just, give me the ball. Just give me the ball, right? And it was like, wait, you guys literally share a locker room together. You're in a huddle together. You're breathing the same air in meeting rooms together. And there's this tension between the two of you because you feel like you're not given the football and things like that enough. But yet it was done through the media. And then eventually, and then I know some things behind the scenes in that further trends to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It was weeks went by before you both collectively came out and said, yeah, we talked about it. It took 4 or 5 weeks of CD walking down the other end of the football field and standing by himself. And them not having the connection. So it is less talked about in the locker room where there's certain beefs that happens. Mm-hmm. Or I shouldn't say beefs.
Tension. Yeah.
Then you think that is ironed out amongst these guys. A lot of these guys, man, they avoid confrontation.
Right.
Now, I'm not calling nobody a punk. I'm not calling anybody soft or anything like that. But and honestly, to be frank with you, a lot of them don't know how to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't know how to come to one another and say, hey, is there an issue between you and I? Can we talk this out like men? That's why you see the social media stuff.
Yeah.
You see that's how more people today, and this is just a generational thing. What do you say?
Thank you, phone.
Yes. More people today, it's a generational thing, is they've lost the art of you and I sitting face to face and having a conversation. Yeah. Picking up the phone and you and I saying man to man, hey, bro, we good? Mm-hmm. Let's talk. Because at the end of the day, either we're gonna iron this thing out or we're not.
Right.
It's more of, I'm going to send a subliminal shot. I'm going to jump on this and say this. I'm going to go on this to say that. And instead of directing it at the person, right. and that's not a Cowboy thing.
That's a social thing.
That is a societal thing. It ain't a Cowboy thing.
Right.
So there is more tension that it goes unspoken about and unchecked and unresolved than we know it.
In all locker rooms.
Locker rooms because we have a societal problem.
So Nate, was it different in your day? Did you guys like, hey, I feel tension, I'm going to go say, hey, what's up? Are we good?
Yeah, Mike just sticks you in the neck with scissors.
Yeah.
Mike just says, oh, we beefing, we got an issue, boom, neck in the scissors.
Because everything Jesse said, I mean, like I tell people, thank you, phone.
Yeah.
If I'm mad at Jesse, all I got to do is send a shout out, and Jesse going to send me a shout out back, and then I'll be like, and then it'll probably take about 4 or 5 disgruntled comments from each other, and then one of us finally man up and call. That's how they do it. It took them, they could say 3-4 weeks to man up and say, Dak said, hey, man, is there an issue with us? Yeah, you should have saw it was an issue with the first text or the first X or the first whatever they call it now, Facebook. You should have knew it was an issue. I mean, especially when you're bringing family into it. I mean, you got moms and dads and uncles. I mean, thanks to the phone, everybody gets a shot at everybody, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way.
Yeah. All right, let's take our last break. Nate, you hanging on or you heading out?
Man, I'm going to let y'all have it, man. I just wanted to just hear what y'all had to say about this.
Man, it's so good to hear your voice.
Man, y'all too, man. Y'all keep doing your thing, man, and y'all be blessed. And we'll do it again, man. We'll do it Monday, is it? We'll be Monday. I should be into the live view Monday.
Yeah, we'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week, and then Tuesday, Thursday the week after. Back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then Tuesday, Thursday, and then I think you'll be back in studio. So take notes, man. Keep us posted. Do some homework. Get back to us on Monday. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah. All right, bye-bye.
All right, Nate. See you. We'll be right back with the last few minutes of the show on Hanging with the Boys.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at Wingstop.com.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole, made with real Hass avocados, will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Back to Hangin' with the Boys.
Welcome back to the final segment of the show, Hanging with the Boys, brought to you each and every day by Jigsaw, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm glad, Jesse, that we don't have 4 segments in this show, because I would be hosting this by myself, because every segment we've lost somebody. Kurt's gone first segment. Nate's gone the second segment. Just me and you.
No, in fact, if we had a 4th segment, I would be this, because you would be going
I would,
the third.
Yeah, I would bail. I would bail. I would be like, take it.
Yeah.
You could definitely talk to yourself for 15 minutes if you needed to. So,
yeah, you know it.
Anyway, one thing we got to do before we get off the air. Michael Gallup retired. I loved him as a human being, as a person. Thought he was a great football player. Probably lost a step or two after the injury, and you hate to see. You got to think that's, I'm not a doctor. I'm not Michael. I haven't talked to Mr. Gallup or anything, but you got to think that played into his decision to hang it up, because you would think that he was still fairly young. He was 28, which 28. You got a few years left.
You got at least a good 5 years left.
Yeah, you probably So I hate to see him go. Would have liked to see him still in the league somewhere, but the decision to retire can't be easy at 28 years old, can it? For a receiver,
it's not.
Running back, it's probably a little bit easier to be like.
You know what, Shannon? It's difficult in any position.
Yeah.
This is what a lot of these guys, myself included at the time, this is all we did our whole life.
Yeah.
This was life.
Mm-hmm.
Football was life. Life was football. But as we know, Father Time is undefeated.
Yep.
And football, unlike other sports, is a 100% hurt business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
And the only question is how damaging. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it was the ACL, and he never quite came back from it physically. And I don't know what it was, but I'm sure it was things mentally that struggled with getting yourself back to form. And I told somebody this the other day on Twitter. There are times where you wake up and you go, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done." Sometimes it's a long, drawn-out thing, and you try to I'm going to put it together one more year and try one more time. And then sometimes you just wake up and you go, that's it. Today's the day. And, when he got released from here and he signed with the Vegas Raiders, people thought, all right, you're going to give this thing another shot and see if you can't have a second act with Vegas. But sometimes you wake up in the morning and you go, that's it.
Yeah.
This is it. And this goes back to contractual situations. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, and every other player in the league. Get your coins.
Yeah.
Get your coins.
Because you never know.
Because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You are one play away from it being catastrophic. You are one play away from never doing this thing again. You are one morning from getting up and saying, it's over. Right? Mike has been very vocal with situations where he says, I'm playing 10 years and that's it. I'm playing 10 years and I'm done. Now, will he hold on to that? I don't know. But he might. Get your coins.
Yeah.
That's why I never go against a player saying he's holding out for his bread. Because I was looking up some stuff yesterday, and when I opened up the laptop, the screen popped up, and it was on Cowboys staff. I don't know why I was there, but I clicked on executives. You know what I saw when I clicked on executives? The screen popped up, and it had one picture header, and then it had 3 picture header at the bottom, right? And it said Jerry Jones, then it said Steven, Charlotte, and Jerry Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stared at it for a second. I just looked. And I was like, this thing is never leaving their family. And then I scrolled down some more, and then I saw Shot Henderson,
Mm-hmm.
the grandson. And then the granddaughter works in here. And this is never leaving the family. Jerry, Steven, and Charlotte, and Jerry Jr., they will make billions of dollars for the next billion of years. Players have a small window to make a fraction of that. Now, that's greater than what most human beings will make, but you have a fraction of that. That's why I always say, get your bread. Michael Gallup saw an opportunity to get that contract, took it. He got generational wealth now. If he does what he's supposed to do with it, right? He got money now where he's able to go on and say, I don't have to do football anymore. I can go and live a comfortable life. And you want to be able to walk away from this game with all your faculties in check, right? All your mentors and your dentals in check, and be able 10 years, 20 years from now.
Raise your kids, pick your kids up. The interesting thing about retirement in the NFL, and it's in let's say civilian life, right? Like normal jobs, and there's exceptions on both sides, but most civilian jobs, you're working as hard as you can and you're looking forward to retirement. Like you would like to retire at 30, right? If you could make enough money. Like you look for the days you don't want to work, right? So, and you make a fraction of the money most of the time that pro athletes do. Pro athletes are making the money, and it's harder for them to walk away from their career, because like you said, that's all you know. And I think the big thing, and the one thing that I always hear, is the locker room. Because unless you've been in that environment and you can't really trust anyone, not even your own family sometimes, outside of that locker room. You can't even trust the whole locker room, but you can trust those guys and girls more than you can people that you meet out in public and on the streets, because most of the time people want something from you, whether that's an investment down the road for their company, or whether they're wanting to use you for clout, or want to hang out with you for free drinks in the club because, you get all these perks and everything. So your inner circle, your tribe, your close tribe, your, closest one I've noticed is most pro athletes have a very, 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 very small friend group, even within the locker room. There's a few guys you hang out with, right? And then outside of that, there's, a few more, and they're usually people you trust, like your financial advisor, your agent. Those are the people you hang out with. And there's hangers on and stuff, but it's once you say I quit and you're not in that locker room, like this week, I guarantee you hit a lot of dudes really hard that walked away from the game in the offseason or last year, because this is the first time they're actually seeing on social media they're there without me, man. And it's, and like you said earlier, pro athletes, they look like these tough guys, and they are tough guys, and they're physically they're very imposing, but like mentally, that's everybody. All my friends are gone, and I'm on the couch, and I bet that's really, really tough. Whether you choose to walk away, or the game forces you to walk away, that's probably really hard from
tough.
a middle standpoint.
No,
man.
it's tough. And it's even tougher for those guys who don't have a skill outside of football. Mm-hmm. Like, that's tough.
No matter how much money you made, right?
You can have all the money in the world and not know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, and we're so regimented. We're so like, hey, get up at 6 a.m., get a workout in, have breakfast, have meetings. And you've done that for so long. And then when it stops, you're like, what do I do
I'm
next?
still up at 6 because I can't sleep.
And now what?
What do I go do?
I got this entire day. I got 24 hours ahead of me, and I have nothing. Mm-hmm. I go work out. That's 2 hours. Now what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I can play the game for a couple hours, but then what? Mm-hmm. And I can't even really play the game with the guys that I play the game with because
they're all doing
their practice.
Yeah.
You
All
know
right, so I'll go work out. So that's another 2 hours. All right, what do I do with the?
And now that cycle continues, and you start swirling out of control because you're lost. And that's the biggest thing when guys go to walk away. You hope and pray that they have something, because the mind is it's so locked in on doing something competitive, something, contributing,
Yeah.
Resulting, whatever it is. If you don't have anything next, that's when you see guys spiral out of control and get themselves involved in some things that they may not necessarily want to be involved in because they're searching. That's the biggest thing. They're searching for that feeling. Mm-hmm. It's like the dopamine, like a drug. Like, I'm searching for that.
And you've always
feeling.
been, as an athlete, you've always been needed because if you're on a team and you get to this level, you've always been a piece to a bigger puzzle. So you've always contributed. You've always been needed to do this. And all of a sudden,
stops.
You're not needed.
Like,
no one
and it
needs
happens
you
like
know?
that, literally, instantly. Even on the practice field, sometimes it's a sad thing, but it's so realistic and it applies to life so much. And you've been on many practice fields and many games, but especially in the practice field, somebody goes down on the practice field. What does coach say? Move the ball down 10 yards. Let's go. We got to continue to practice. Yeah. And the medical team, and if however severe or non-severe it is, they'll continue to work on that particular player. But the shift focus.
Game goes on.
Mm-hmm. Without you. While you're still down on the ground.
Who you are.
No matter who you are. The game goes on without you. You're down on the ground and coach goes, move the ball 10 yards down. Let's line up. Mm-hmm. You're like, my leg. The play's still going on. Just move down 10 more yards. We're going the opposite way.
Yep.
That's an equivalent of what happens is when you walk away and you retire, whether you walk in the way or the game kicks you away, the coach goes, move the ball 10 yards.
Yeah.
We're going.
Well, thanks for the time here, Mike. We enjoyed watching you play. So, all right, Jesse, let's get out of here. I guess we will be back on Monday. Most of us will be. I may not be here. I don't know yet. I got some work stuff going on, so we'll see.
I'll be here, God willing.
So, but we'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week, Tuesday, Thursday the week after, Monday, Wednesday, Friday the week after. We're alternating weeks. So just check the website and the app to see what the schedule is. Thanks, Kurt. Thanks, Nate, for calling in. Jazz, thanks for keeping us up on the board. Chris, thanks for putting in the hard work.
You saw Jazz hair?
I did.
Looking real commander-ish.
Oh, my gosh.
Just saying. I had a conversation with her. You got to get that corrected before we get to the season.
Well, I told you I'm going to change it before they get back.
At least it's not green, right?
I mean, she went from Commander. She went from Eagle to Commanders. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I thought,
and she did have it blue at one time.
I thought she's about to get recruited by Dan Quinn too.
Oh man! All right, we will. Oh yeah, what's our man's name? Puts all of our stuff up. Is he still doing that? Even though he's out.
Listen, we came back. A lot of folks is not even having jobs here anymore.
Yeah.
You mean Josh?
Josh?
Yeah, that guy.
Is he still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Josh.
Sit next to me.
Oh, what's
Great
up,
guy.
Josh?
Oh, okay.
Unemployed. Your badge still works? Okay.
All right.
My badge still works.
All right. Yeah. Well, heard he did a great job on the show earlier. He was.
Oh, he was on the
hosting.
show.
He was hosting earlier. So yeah, called me Sharon. I appreciate that, and I will not forget it. So at least he remembered my name because I can never remember his. So, all right, we will be back on Monday. See you then. Hanging with the boys.
We out.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?